Welcome back to A Purring Wolverine, and today we apologize. Obviously, it's been a couple weeks since I've posted a new video. I had all sorts of great ideas over the last few weeks that were mostly thwarted by circumstances that we'll get into. But no, I did not forget about you. I apologize for not having a video posted and for not even posting any sort of warning, to be honest. Just too new to the game. I'm not really 100% sure how the whole YouTube thing works for making those kinds of announcements. So I have a couple videos that I might post this weekend that were like tester videos that I made when I was first coming up with the idea for the channel and first deciding if the tech that I had would be sufficient. And I'm not super proud of the product, but maybe I can edit them up and post them anyway because I owe you guys a couple videos. So yeah, a couple weeks ago I went to Philadelphia for a vacation / friend's wedding. And I had a plan it was going to be a hectic travel weekend, so I was going to skip 1 week, but I was going to post a midweek video. That was going to be me on the beach. After the Philadelphia wedding, we were going to New Jersey. We drove the hour and a half, 2 hours to the beach and stayed there. And I had a whole plan to wait for a day or a time where it was not very windy and to record a video on the beach in natural light, the waves in the background. It was going to be awesome. And then the vacation got cut short. We were nervous about it being cut short for coronavirus reasons, but it was not. It was cut short because a coworker gave birth to her child a month before the due date and necessitated myself coming home to fill in some much needed role. And because of that, I was forced to come home to fill in. Baby's fine, healthy, everything's cool there. But I was on the beach. I was making a drizzle castle. If you don't know what a drizzle castle looks like, it looks like this. Basically, you can just get sandy water. You could dig up some sand and water in a bucket from the ocean. I prefer, as you can see here, my legs are in a hole. I dug a hole into the sand, maybe an arm's length down, until you hit where the ocean is, or where there's, where it leaks in. And then you have this sandy porridge that you can hold and drip through your fingers. You just let it drip through your fingers and build these sandcastles. Drip castles. They used to be built with my dad and and my brother and my mom, but my brother was mostly getting buried in the sand. My mom was mostly reading a book. My dad and I were either body surfing or building drip castles. So I was building a drip castle on the beach, thinking about what exactly I wanted to talk about in the video, and I got a urgent series of messages when I picked up my phone. I'm not sure what we're gonna do tomorrow. Baby is here. versus working open to close today. It would be sort of rough to have to do that again. So, emergency change of flight, canceling of the video. Unfortunately, that also canceled the video that was going to be posted that weekend because I got home on Wednesday, worked Wednesday night, then Thursday morning, and then again on Friday and Saturday. Basically, couldn't catch up from jet lag. Got so sick to the point where I thought I was going to get COVID. I thought I had COVID, but it turns out I was just jet lagged and dehydrated. I just had no energy and I couldn't get a video out. It's been tough to find sort of the right mental space to get in front of this camera or phone and do a recording. I've been sort of clinging to some of my other stress relievers during my free time and not really wanting to put in the work because while the video recording doesn't take a whole lot of effort, the editing on the back end just takes a whole chunk of time, and projecting time needed now and time needed in the future over the last couple of weeks was just not something I wanted to do or really had the capacity for. So we skipped it. That being said, I'm here. We got a couple of video ideas lined up going forward. I have more meditations, not for sleep, but I like the idea of doing more meditations, helping everybody find a peaceful mindset. Over the past couple days / week and a half, I've had a hard time finding a peaceful mindset myself, but been sort of reminding myself to do meditation. And at the very least, I've been able to calm myself down at night and get some good sleep, relatively. Whereas normally stress can sort of knock me out of the sleep game entirely. So we're going to do some meditations. I think we're also going to do just like a heavy trigger video with basically little to no talking and just a collection of random triggers I found from around the house. We're going to do a reading video. I'm going to read a book. I got a couple suggestions from books from friends that I'm liking, but if you have an idea, please leave in the comments. I am thinking I'm thinking about doing like essentially an audio book, going through a book, taking the time to learn all the characters, come up with different voices for the characters, and then do stretches. Most audiobooks are 8 to 14 hours. So the videos would have to be you're either getting 16, 30-minute videos or 8+ hour long videos. Seems like a lot. I don't know if anybody would be interested in that, but I could also release the strip audio of it directly as an audiobook. Yeah, that might be interesting. Maybe an interesting idea to start releasing audiobooks as well. Don't hold your breath on that. Good golly, I have enough on my plate right now. So while coming back from the beach was difficult, being on the beach, even just for 2 days, man, was that a huge relief. I was not born, but I was basically brought up in Philadelphia, and so we were always relatively close to the beach and would regularly vacation there. And after having moved away from the East Coast, that's like the biggest thing that I miss is easy access to the beach. and the waves. There's, we've been to lakes and quarries and all this other nonsense where there's a pool of water and some sand. But the ocean and the waves and the beach is just, it's a whole vibe. But it's just something special. And I missed that. I missed it a lot. I typically dig a chair. I don't bring a beach chair. I'll find a as intact clamshell that's as large as I can find. Typically, you can find fully intact ones if you look for any length of time. And you just dig into the sand and dig a hole out for your legs, and then you're under the earth and it's cool. You're protected from the sun because it doesn't matter how much sunscreen I put on. I go from this wonderfully pasty complexion to a lobster, and then I peel back to I've never seen the light of day before. I can tan. It takes a whole lot of effort, basically extended, repeated, small exposures. When I was in high school playing lacrosse, I used to get tan lines and stripes down my arms because you wear pads, and the pads would have cloth stripes to hold onto your arms, and in between would get tan stripe on the back of my neck. Some of the guys who tanned really easily would get, even in the first day or two, they would get lines from the grill of their helmets. And they would get lines in because you'd play for 2-3 hours and the sun's mostly in the same spot at that time. I didn't tan like that, so no worries, but I would get stripes over time. But yeah, dig that hole underground, you sort of avoid the sun. You still need sunscreen. I still got lit up on my back. And I was nervous, actually. I just gotten a relatively tight haircut to my sides, and I could feel I was getting a little bit of a burn on the sides of my head. Luckily, I didn't actually burn because while I can handle a sunburn on my back or my shoulders or my chest, I think the scalp would be tough. All that hair, I think, would really interrupt your ability to do anything without pain, itching. God forbid you burn bad enough that it would start to peel. Not great. When I was in college, I shaved my head. Well, I didn't really shave my head. I shaved half my head. So I was running an experiment. This is sort of a weird story. I was running an experiment where I was clean shaven at the time, and I just shaved the right side of my face. At the time, one of the girls I was friends with had said they would routinely forget to shave one of their legs. The bathrooms were so small and uncomfortable, and it would take so much longer for them to shave one of their legs than it did at home, that mentally they were like, I've been here long enough that I've shaved both my legs. So they ever asked me if I run into that sort of problem. I was like, luckily I only have the one face. But because of that, I started shaving just one half of my face to see when people would notice and when people would say something. And it turns out that the societal rules of politeness so many years ago basically dictated that even your college friends wouldn't say anything until it was like really obvious that you weren't shaving, like almost full beard kind of thing, before it was like, what's going on there? What are you doing? But because of that experiment, a friend of mine said I should go as Two-Face for Halloween, and I loved the idea, so I went to go shave my head. It was January or February when this happened. Halloween was at the end of the year. whatever. I'm shaving my head. So I'm shaving my head all the way down. And my girlfriend at the time said, "Don't shave your eyebrow." And I said, "You can't control me." And I shaved my eyebrow. And I bicked everything. I took a razor, shaved my head, eyebrow, half the face, left the eyelashes because I don't. Nope, no, thank you. And let me tell you, when you have skin on the top of your head that has not seen the light of day in who knows how many years, oh, the burn is bad. It's not pleasant. And it doesn't matter how much sunscreen you put on and how often you reapply it, your body is not prepared. Torched. My head literally oozed pus. And I don't know how else to say it. I was literally carrying around tissues and I would feel it like sweat accumulating on my head and I would just wipe away and it was not sweat. Ooh, I burned my head so bad. Wild. Don't play outdoor sports right after shaving your head for the first time ever if you're a pasty white dude. Not recommended. So, luckily that did not happen again to me on the beach. But I did get to go and build some drizzle castles. We also got fleeced. One day, my wife and I decided we're going to go out for a date. And back and forth on where we're going to go. And for some reason, we ended up going to like a smash burger spot. Now, if you don't live at the Jersey Shore, most of the Jersey Shore is not exactly well renowned for good cuisine. The East Coast has a lot of good food. The beach does not. So like this wasn't going to be a top-notch smash burger kind of place by default. And then they have this thing called the Shooby Shake. I got excited. I like milkshakes. I got an aggressive sweet tooth, if we're being honest. So I'm like, I'm getting the Shooby Shake. And my dad, who was there, says, "You know what that's about?" And so apparently Shooby is a term for folks who, back in the day, would bring lunch in a shoebox and go down to the beach for a day because they were that close to the beach. But they were essentially tourists and kids who spent their whole time at the beach. My dad worked at the beach all summer when he was a kid in that, not that beach, but 50, 60 miles south. They would call them shoobies. These tourists who would bring their lunch in a shoebox. And I was like, that's funny. So we're getting one of these shakes. So I go and I order the Shooby Shake. It's like a cookies and cream Shooby Shake. Sounds good. I know my wife will go for it. I go outside and she goes, "Why was that bill so expensive?" And I'm thinking about it. You're right. I did. I wasn't that we were talking and I wasn't thinking. Just, you do the thing. It's just paying. Every food is so freaking expensive now that you're like, whatever. This is the price of food. So we go back in and I'm looking like, well, there's no way. How much was this was $12. That's cheap. That's fine. And then I get to this Shooby Shake. And this milkshake cost $30. So I walk up to the register and I'm like getting ready to tell the lady like, "Oh, I made a mistake. Is there like a regular milkshake? I don't. A $30 milkshake seems crazy." And I didn't read. There was a bunch of stuff going on, and I didn't even read it. Under the cookies and cream, like cookies and cream, mountain whipped cream, this, that, and the other. I didn't even read it. Yeah, that one sounds the best flavor. And I'm walking up to the register, and I see this girl in the back with this cup. Already with like a chocolate rim dipped in chocolate. And then around the outside is cake icing so that they can put Oreo crushed cookie. They're already making it. See the other girls making the physical milkshake, and I'm like, you got me. You named the thing the Shooby Shake. I was told the story of how it was a derogatory term for tourists, and I bought the tourist trap. I bought right into it. And this shake comes out, as described, cookies and cream, mountain of whipped cream, and they had a cookies and cream ice cream cookie. So, ice cream cookie, cookies and cream flavor. It was one of the best milkshakes I've ever had. It was so good. And you got literally an ice cream cookie with it. My wife and I split it. She was mad, but it was delicious. I couldn't stop laughing. It's just like, it's like such a stupid mistake. And like in the grand scheme of things, $30. The extra big $26 or whatever, you know, because it would have been a $5 or $6 milkshake. Or even if you consider we now have this really low effort, just low effort. You know, we have that awesome mug. This story's worth $30. It's just hilarious. And I mean, like, when we got back, we walked back in, and I'm walking in the door, and there's like a little bit left because we had eaten these like greasy burgers and fries, and we ate this gigantic freaking thing, and I was just like, I'm not prepared for that after a day in the sun. I walk in, and my dad just like looks at the mug. I don't say anything. I just like walk right by him, just like put it in the thing. It was the next day was Tuesday, so this was Monday night, and like Tuesday, my mom's like doing the dishes. She's like, "What is this Shooby Shake? Did you get a glass with your milkshake?" And so then I had to tell them the story. So suckered by the Shooby Shake people at Kook Burger, which ultimately I would just not recommend. They were a subpar burger, subpar fries, fantastic and fantastically expensive milkshake. Take it or leave it. So yeah, we spent like maybe half the day on Monday on the beach, and half the day just in the house with my parents, hanging out. And then the next day, I was like, we were going to spend the whole day on the beach. And then at lunch, I get this message that I'm coming. Then I have to emergency come home and work on Wednesday. And I was like, oh, you have to drag me off the beach. So we were there like pretty early in the morning. Drizzle castle like literally all day after building my hole to get the water. Just you know working the whole day on that, having a great time on it. Dragged back to the house for dinner. My dad made Sunday after the wedding, and on Tuesday he made pasta, and then on Tuesday it was chicken parm. It's just so good. And like a pure blood Italian makes you any pasta dish just like with their tomato sauce. So we call it gravy. So if you're from, I'm not sure how widespread it is. It's definitely Philadelphia. My grandparents always say it's only Italians from South Philly would call red sauce, tomato sauce, if you cooked it with meatballs in it, it is called gravy. That is not the brown shit that you put on a turkey. That is also gravy. That is a different thing. You make a tomato sauce. Make a bolognese. But if you make tomato sauce with meatballs in it, you cook the meatballs in it, and you're from South Philly, maybe the greater Northeast, Italians call it gravy. So whatever, it's the best. Full-blooded Italian, homemade gravy or tomato sauce is just too good. He made it for me twice, so that's pretty dope. And then we came home, and like I said, I came home on Wednesday, basically landed, washed my hands, drove to work. Hadn't really eaten, hadn't really consumed any water, brought some food with me, and like by the time I got to work, we had woken up early. So equivalent with the time jump, we had woken up at like 3 a.m. So 5, 6 p.m. when I'm going to try to eat. I don't know if this happens to you, but especially when I travel and don't eat, I call it travel stomach. I get nauseous. Just sick. Can't eat. Don't want to eat. The concept of food makes me ill, and I have to like nibble my way back into being able to consume food. I felt so bad, and I was getting chills, so I'd convinced myself I had COVID, and I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. And because I've had COVID before, my brain was like, oh, here's a sprinkling of COVID symptoms just added into your dehydration and jet lag. So I'm drinking water. I had a pizza in there saying, just nibble on this donut first. Get your blood sugar up. By the end of the night, I felt okay, but it was still 2 or 3 days. And I'm working through all of it, that I felt like ill, not fully recovered. Let me tell you, as you get older, you can't just treat your body like you did when you were in your 20s. Food and water become relatively important, like all the time. It sucks. Because you gotta keep eating and keep drinking. But then if you don't also work out constantly, you end up sort of round. It's not a great look. But what are you going to do? So anyway, we're not done. We got more content coming. I'm hoping that we can churn out maybe a video to pop out over the next, couple days if I can finish these found videos. I will post them right after I post this. We'll see. But we're going to hit you guys up with some content. I'm back. Let me know if there's anything you want to see, what book you want me to read. If there's a specific area of focus you want to hone in on for the meditation. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys being patient with me. Thank you for understanding. Have a good night.